Bwong. Holy crap. Hey guys, first off, we'll be doing something a little different today. While many games have loads of lore, they're not all concisely placed in individual articles secreted away throughout the gameverse. So today we're going to be giving you the story in a different format than those previous. Let us know if you enjoy. So as you may have guessed from the title card, this video is about the history, story, legend, and life of Revan. If you're familiar with the Star Wars games, you've probably heard of this guy. If not, well, just keep watching. As a point of interest, it should be noted that the information we'll be doling out here is based upon what has been established as canon, which is important because about half the media in which Revan appears are RPGs, i.e. players choose and therefore change the canon for their particular playthroughs. As such, if you've played the games, the information here may not line up with how things went down for you. Let's begin. Revan was a powerful Jedi, menacing Sith Lord, and in general the kind of intergalactic badass that forms legends and makes stories.
Yes, while players could choose to be male or female with any number of faces and the like, canonically, Revan was a human man.
He first made his appearance on the galactic stage as a Jedi Knight, campaigning for the involvement of the Jedi Order in the ongoing Mandalorian Wars. You see, the Republic was fighting a losing battle with the Mandalorian war clans, united under Mandalore the Ultimate, who had been slowly crushing the Republic's forces, taking territory, slaying both soldiers and non-combatants all along the way. But the Jedi up to this point had refused to become involved, believing that A, it was not really their place at this time, and that B, the Mandalorians were not the true threat, that there was a darker, more sinister presence that had yet to reveal itself. However, by this time Revan, though not widely known to the galaxy at large, already had quite a following within the Jedi Order itself. He and his good friend Alec were regarded as two of the Order's brightest stars, brilliant, powerful champions of the cause, and in Revan's case, wildly charismatic. He drew followers like moths to an open flame. So, Revan, Alec, and many Jedi in tow, went off to give assistance in the fight with Mandalorians. Now, it should be noted here that Revan and his Revanchists, as the group as a whole would come to be known, did not have either the backing or the permission of the Jedi Council, so they acted primarily as scouts, disseminating information and watching enemy troop movements. They were not large enough as of yet to be a true battle force. Not until a later revelation concerning the unnecessary cruelty and brutality of the Mandalorian forces were the Revanchists allowed to join the war properly. And even then, they were technically a Mercy Corps, though that title soon became one of name only. As a side note, I did not make the name Revanchists up. That's real. It should be noted at this point that both Revan and Alec are known to history as, respectively, Revan and Malak. But these are not their true given names, nor, as some believe, are they simply titles taken when they both fell to the dark side, becoming Sith Lords. Alec, during the time before the Revanchists were allowed to officially join the war as a Mercy Corps, acquired a number of warrants against his person for his actions, so he changed his name and to some degree his appearance, adopting the moniker Malak, a name he would later swear to keep as long as Revan kept his name, and one he would ultimately wear the rest of his life. The story of Revan's name is a little different. Like Malak, he would take on the name by which history would remember him as a result of actions taken during the Mandalorian Wars. Unlike Malak, though, Revan's original name has never been revealed. When referenced prior to his taking on the moniker Revan, he is usually referred to via title, such as simply Jedi or the Revanchist, as his person became synonymous with his movement. He took the name Revan and donned the Mandalorian mask, forming the appearance by which he is most famously known in response to the aforementioned discovery of Mandalorian butchery, swearing neither to remove the mask nor forswear the name of Revan until the Mandalorians had been defeated. Malak made a similar pledge regarding his new moniker. Now back to Revan and Malak's progress on the war. Once officially allowed to be a part of the ongoing war effort, Revan and Malak, technically now members of the military, but unlike the Jedi during the Clone Wars of movie and animated series fame, not automatically made high-ranking military officers, quickly rose through the ranks of their own merit, demonstrating military and tactical genius, as well as showing themselves to be exceptionally gifted both as leaders and on the field of battle. Such it came to be that Revan and Malak eventually turned the tide of the Mandalorian Wars in the Republic's favor, finally breaking the Mandalorian army at the Battle of Malachor V, with Revan slaying Mandalore the Ultimate in personal one-on-one combat. And so, the two Jedi were hailed as heroes of the Republic, before abruptly vanishing from all eyes for a time. When next Revan and Malak returned to the central stage, they came not as heroes, but conquerors. The Sith Lords, Darth Revan and Darth Malak, came to destroy the Republic and establish their own empire. It was widely believed by the Jedi that their experiences during the Mandalorian Wars led to their fall to the dark side, which, some in fact would remind those listening, was one of the many reasons the Jedi Council did not want their knights involved in the war in the first place. In truth, while the two had flirted with the corruption of the dark side during the Mandalorian Wars, searching out forbidden knowledge and slowly becoming more and more brutal with their tactics, they had not at that time stared so deeply into the darkness that it stared back. Instead, as the beaten Mandalore the Ultimate lay dying, he told the two Jedi generals that the Mandalorians' part in the war had been orchestrated by the Sith. The Sith, who were at this time believed to be all but extinct. Following the trail given them by the dying Mandalorian leader, Revan and Malak found their way to Dromund Kaas, seat of the hidden Sith Empire, and home of the dreaded and reportedly immortal Sith Emperor. Instead of sending for aid, or returning to the Republic with this news and dropping their armies on Dromund Kaas and the Emperor, Revan and Malak chose to infiltrate the Emperor's palace in an attempt to assassinate him. It was here that Revan and Malak's fall to the dark side actually happened. You see, the Sith Emperor was old. We're talking 1,000 plus years old, and one of the many ways he maintained safety and power was by having direct mind control over his local security and various others around the Empire. When Revan and Malak stepped in to fight, the Emperor instead captured the two Jedi Knights, broke them, and turned them to the dark side, sending them back to Republic space, intending for them to be the advanced forces for his own invasion. On the trip back to Republic space, however, Revan and Malak were able to break the mind control, but they remained corrupted by the dark side. Thus, when they arrived in Republic space, instead of conquering for the Sith Emperor, they elected to establish their own Sith Empire, to the Republic's detriment. True to form, Malak and Revan decimated all forces in their path, fueled by a combination of even more ruthless tactics than they previously used, their pre-established military acumen, and the use of a powerful Rakata space station, which could churn out ships and weapons at an obnoxious rate. If you've never heard of the Rakata, think of them as Star Wars' version of the Ancients from Stargate, the Forerunners from Halo, or the Reapers from Mass Effect.
Yes, technically the Reapers were a product of someone else, but you get the idea.
As the new Sith Lords burned a path through Republic space, a Jedi strike team led by Bastila Shan
She'll become important later.
boarded Revan's command ship and subdued him, wiping his memory entirely in the hopes that they could turn the skilled and brilliant mind of Revan against his now former partner, Darth Malak. Thus begin the events of Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. Yes, for those not familiar, all of that was backstory. And that's the short version. With his memory wiped, Revan pals around with Bastila Shan and a colorful gallery of other characters, including an assassin droid he built himself before his memory wipe that they just happened to stumble across, and whose own memory engrams are damaged to such an extent he doesn't initially recognize Revan as his creator and master. Revan then undergoes a Luke Skywalker-style expedited level of Jedi training, surprising everyone, quote-unquote, with his apparent talent and acumen. Eventually, he rediscovers his identity, though only fragments of his memory, and has to decide whether to regress back to Sithdom or continue on his current path, to free the Republic from the threat of his old friend and ally, Darth Malak. By this time, his relationship with his newfound allies, particularly Bastila, had progressed to such a point that he was convinced to remain one of the good guys. Realizing that Malak was a great threat to the Republic, its people, and his newfound friends, Revan and company set off to take Malak out. Eventually, Revan stood victorious. Malak was slain, the Rakata station taken care of, and he was once more hailed as a shining hero of the Republic. He would disappear from the public eye after that, staying with Bastila and years later fathering a child with her. In the time between Malak's fall and Revan's child's birth, however, bits and fragments of memory would continue to resurface for him now and then. Until finally, the bits and pieces coalesced into an urge to go back after the Sith Emperor. Leaving Bastila and his still then unborn child behind, Revan set off into deep space to try once more to kill the Emperor. He failed. Again. For 3 years, Revan remained a prisoner of the Emperor, until Mitra Surik, the Jedi exile,
And playable protagonist of the Knights of the Old Republic 2,
along with the help of a powerful Sith going by the name of Scourge,
later ally of the Jedi Knight character from the Star Wars The Old Republic MMO.
freed him in an attempt to stop the Emperor from invading the Republic, a goal that, for their own reasons, all three of them shared. They would fail. As the battle raged, Revan was being defeated handily by the Emperor. Mitra, watching her good friend falling, saw a chance and found herself faced with a choice. She could deal the killing blow to the Emperor at the cost of Revan's life, or she could save Revan from the Emperor's death blow. She chose the latter. Meanwhile, Scourge, seeing the battle going south, realized his only chance at survival was to make the Emperor believe that he'd led Mitra and Revan into a trap, and so he stabbed Mitra in the back. The battle over, the Emperor locked Revan away. Not in prison this time, though. This time, the Emperor locked Revan up, using the defeated knight's life force to help extend his own life. Unbeknownst to the Emperor, though, Mitra remained at Revan's side, a force ghost, helping sustain him both body and soul. For the next 300 years. 3 centuries later, Mitra's ghost managed to reach out to members of the Republic, forming the basis for a Republic flashpoint in Star Wars The Old Republic,
Think a dungeon in any other MMO.
during which Revan is freed from his stasis. He would go on to lead the Republic to do battle with the Empire, eventually taking command of yet another Rakata station, forming the basis for an Imperial flashpoint. Holding the station would ultimately cost Revan his life, defeated in combat by a strike team of the Empire's best.
That's you, the players, if you're running an Imperial character.
Now, you would think that that would be the end of Revan's story. And if his last 300 years hadn't been complete crap, you might have been right. Instead, Revan's mind, fractured during 300 years of vampirically life-sucking torture, couldn't agree with itself on what should happen to him once he died. So, his soul split in half. One half was tainted by the dark side, and ready to try, once again, to kill the Emperor, taking up his now shattered and dead body for the cause. The other half was not so tainted, and instead, as a Force ghost, aided members of both the Republic and the Empire in stopping his evil half. Now, why would his light side try to get in the way of his dark side trying to kill the Emperor, arguably the most powerful and evil being he'd ever encountered? Simple. The Dark Revan was of the,
in hindsight, accurate
opinion that if he didn't get both the Republic and the Empire out of the way before going after the Emperor, he would fail. Obviously, the good half of Revan couldn't stand for that level of genocide, and so he successfully aided a coalition of both Republic and Imperial agents,
again, you, the players,
in defeating his dark half. Ironically, the ensuing conflict would end in the Emperor gaining strength instead of being slain. But, at the very least, Revan could now rest. The two halves of the broken man's soul argued fiercely before being convinced to join together once again. Now whole for, quite possibly the first time in centuries, Revan finally became one with the Force. We hope you guys enjoyed this video. For the record, this is the wildly abridged version of Revan's life. I could seriously make a small video series out of this guy's story, so if you want to hear that, let us know, and consider this a summary. If you did like it, let us know. If you want more details on him, or perhaps other characters like Bastila or Mitra mentioned in this series, or Scorch, let us know. And until next time, this has been
Two Men and a Mic, signing off. Hey guys, you can click the link in the left for our last lore video.
You can click the link on the right for our last Let's Play.
And right here in the middle, that orb, you can hit that to subscribe.
Also, ring the bell if you want to be notified when we post a new video.
This is Two Men and a Mic. Thanks for watching.